one thing that happened to them last time. So since we did right to left last time, we're going to start left to right. So Heather, who are you and what happened to you last time?
I'm playing Regina Walnut, the bereaved and bereft widow of Lord Walnut. Um, Very bereaved and very bereft, and I certainly did do a little bit of light flirting with the good doctor in order to cover my bestest friend's tracks while she put away the ether.
Naturally. Okay, next we have said best friend. Hannah, who are you and who are you playing?
I am said best friend. I am playing Eleanor Oakley, she, her, the house guest, and best friend, as previously mentioned. Fun thing that happened to me last session was I got in some good digs at Lady Chartreuse, who I am out to destroy. Still, at this point in time, I think only Lady Chartreuse, but TBD whether that expands based on potential revelations that may or may not occur.
Yeah, anything could happen. All right. Speaking of Lady Chartreuse, Allie, who are you and who are you playing?
I'm Allie. I'm playing
Okay.
Lady. I'm playing Lady Harmonia Chartreuse. One thing that happened is she arrived fashionably late to find her unrecognized or undeclared child and her her family, who she doesn't much care for, along with said family's friend. Just a lot of barbs. Unbeknownst to her, there's been some evidence planted against her.
Yes, very unfortunate that. All right, speaking of said unacknowledged child, Isa, who are you and what happened to you last session?
Goodness, that seems to be a theme for me, being the unacknowledged child. I got into a small tiff with my love of most dearest, Dr. Chloe Kress, and found out she didn't read hardly any of my letters, or at least half of them, and was continually having to pretend like I am this completely do-gooder art restorer person that my cousin of an uncle, I don't know, had entrusted with curating his artistic goods. That's what I got. I'm
There you
being
go.
grumpy.
And who are you playing again? Also.
Oh, that's right, Tessina. I'm playing Tessina Lyra Chant, quote unquote chartreuse.
Okay, very good. And last but not least, doctor/fiance, Liz, who are you and what happened to you last session?
I am playing Dr. Chloe Kress, she, her. I maybe am trying to weasel my way into an inheritance by way of the bereaved widow. She needs comfort. I'm a physician. I have great bedside manner.
Impeccable, truly.
My fiance definitely didn't see me doing it. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. Thank you all. I am so excited to jump in here again. And as previously stated, we're going to be starting with the interview phase, in which Lady Susan, played by me, the private investigator who has been hired to investigate the suspicious circumstances of Lord Walnut's murder, is going to interview each of you. And each one of you gets to contribute a question to those interviews. So we're going to start with our prime suspect, Lady Harmonia. So, Lady Chartreuse, Lady Susan calls you into the study that she is using to interview all of the major characters. And we're going to go down the list. Hannah, do you have a question that you would like Lady Susan to ask Lady Chartreuse?
I do. Would you like me to drop it into the chat? Or
Sure.
how would you... Yeah.
That's also fine. I was gonna type everyone's question, but if you want to
Sure.
drop them in the chat, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
and it doesn't have to be worded like
Mhm.
you're playing the NPC. I'm not playing the NPC, but it's effectively, you know more about this family. We all know that Lord Walnut was brought to discuss the will. What was he hiding?
Incredible. I love that. All right, so we'll go into character. Lady Chartreuse, so good to speak to you. I hope that we will make this brief, but I must do my utmost best to get to the bottom of this very suspicious circumstance so that the family will feel comfortable with the will being executed as it is written.
Of course.
Of course. All right, so to start, I would like to know, so you are Lord Walnut's niece, and ostensibly his direct heir. We all know.
Ostensibly.
Well, he did recently marry again.
Yes, he certainly did.
But I have heard that it's common knowledge that Lord Walnut was reluctant to discuss the will with anyone but his lawyer. What was he hiding, perhaps?
Lady
You know the
Susan.
family better than anyone else. Surely you would know if anyone did.
You must sympathize that there are certain matters in this family that, as the matriarch currently,
Mm-hmm.
I am not exactly at liberty to discuss. I can tell you that he did explain some things about his will to me when last I saw him.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not quite comfortable disclosing what that would be.
Even if it were to clear up some misunderstandings about his sudden demise.
The thing is, I'm not sure it has bearing unless he told someone else.
Interesting. I am going to ask Isa for the next question. What would you like Lady Susan to ask Lady Chartreuse? Okay. So, I see. Well then, since you were so close to your cousin, your, nephew, uncle,
Uncle.
yes, and you claim to know a great deal about the family, how did you feel about his new wife entering the picture so recently? Do you have any idea how that might have affected his will?
His wife and I will be frank, I don't have much fondness for her. I find her crass. However, I can tell you that based on what I discussed with my uncle, she is going to be taken care of, but that does not mean she is about to become a wealthy widow.
I see. And you feel fairly certain of this.
I suppose it's going to come out, isn't it?
I suppose so. We'll all find out tomorrow. Liz, what is your question for Lady Chartreuse?
It's a good question. I'm putting it together right now.
Okay. Heather, are you ready, or do you need some more time as well?
let's see. I just want to read over something really quick.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, I'll write it down, I suppose.
Okay, great.
Are we allowed to use resolve tokens during this phase?
Let me just double check. I do not believe the rulebook says you can't. So... the rules do not say you can't, so, what's your proposal?
Nothing at this particular exact moment.
Okay.
It just occurred to me that I might
You want the option to
do
be on
at
the
some
table.
point. So I just I figured this was a good time to ask instead of in the middle of someone's questioning.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Helpful.
All right.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you, Heather. Okay. So I'm also given to understand that you were the last person to have seen him alive, and that, there was an altercation between you the other night. What was the nature of that argument?
Her hands are clasped atop her cane. Imagine you were young once, Lady Susan.
Indeed.
When I was young, I had an indiscretion. I made the choice to handle that a certain way, and I take responsibility for that. But it is very fair to say I was keenly feeling the pressure to make the decision I did from Uncle.
I see.
When last I saw him, he explained to me that he also had a similar scandal and was going to do the opposite of what he had advised me to do. I found him hypocritical. I was furious. And I told him to go to the devil. And she, as non-showily as possible, slips a handkerchief out of her purse to dab at her eyes quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I am
Never mind, go ahead.
quite regretful.
Was that the last thing you said to him before he died?
Yes. Oh, resolve token.
All right, we have a resolve token proposal. Yes, Heather.
So the handkerchief, for a resolve token, would it be the ether handkerchief?
Ooh.
I don't know how
say-
long the ether
I
lasts,
want to
though.
push back on that because my
Okay.
question involves presenting the actual handkerchief.
Okay, that's fine then. I was
I'm
throwing it out
Say,
there
though,
as
that they match. That they
okay.
they look the same. That's good.
That would be a resolve token.
Okay. Allie, how do you feel about that?
Take it.
Okay.
I love mess.
All right, Heather, you may deduct that resolve token, and Allie, you may add one to your stash. Okay, and then Liz, go ahead and drop that question in for us.
Okay, I don't have it fully written, but I will just
You're good.
articulate it. Lady Susan hands over the missing handkerchief and then asks if the lady is often one who dabbles in the use of ether casually.
I love it. Okay. So then Lady Susan, seeing the handkerchief, will smile a little bit and pull another handkerchief that looks exactly like it out of her bag. Yes, of course. Do you recognize this handkerchief by any chance?
Oh, that might be one of mine. I tend to only carry one with me at a time, and this is my usual. but it could be one of mine.
Are you often in the habit of using ether for anything in your personal routine?
Heavens, no. Why would I use an ether? I prefer to leave all medical decisions in the hands of a doctor, like that strapping young lady that's in the parlor. You know, if we'd had more doctors like her, or we never would have lived through poor Prince Edward's death.
Indeed. A pity that.
Well, I suppose it was for the best we did get Elizabeth out of it.
We did rather. Very well. I think that was all the questions that I had. Please send in the next person to see me. Whoever you run into first at your discretion.
Thank you. I trust this will all be resolved soon, and
Do hope so.
hopefully there was no foul play, but I fear there might have been.
That is what we hope to discover.
And she was feeling fine, if a little upset, to go over these things, but seeing, like, after the questions about the handkerchief and after, she's like, what is going on? And she leaves.
Fair enough. And then you get to choose the next person to be interviewed.
I'll say Liz. I think she sees the strapping doctor. It's like, oh, doctor, I believe you should go in and be interviewed by Lady Susan.
Oh, of course, my lady. I hope you weren't too distressed by the conversation.
It is something I would have rather not experienced, but we can rarely get what we want, can't we?
She nods. Well, I do suspect that it would be far preferable for all of us if we were not in this situation. But,
Yes.
keep that stiff upper lip.
Thank you, Doctor.
She nods and goes in.
Okay. Welcome, Dr. Crest. Please have a seat.
Thank you. Closes the door behind her.
Yep, great. All right, Heather, I'm calling on you next. What do you have a question for our lovely Dr. Crest prepared?
Yes.
Okay. Oh boy. Wonderful. So my first question is related to some of the, shall we say, accessories found in Lord Walnut's office. Do you employ the use of ether in your clinic?
In my oh, of course I do. It's very commonly used within the medical profession. It's used for as an anesthetic. It's a disinfectant, antiseptic. I'd be shocked if there were any physicians who didn't make use of it, quite honestly.
Yes, that makes sense to me. Allie, what is your question for our dear Dr. Kress?
All right. I'll just say, were there any noticeable changes in Lord Walnut's health recently?
Very good. So, Lord Walnut was your primary patient lately, was he not?
He was, yes.
All right. Were there any noticeable changes in his health as of late?
Not that I can really put my finger on. The man was a bit of a hypochondriac, and so I became quite familiar with his vitals. But really was the picture of health for his age in particular. His hypochondria almost, I would venture to say, he's probably one of the healthiest individuals of his age that I've ever seen, professionally speaking.
So you would say that he took a great deal of precaution to stay that way?
I would say so, yes.
Okay, Hannah, what is your question for Dr. Kress?
Oh.
Incredible. All right. So Dr. Kress, I've noticed that you have varyingly close relationships with the other house guests at this time.
Yes? I'm sorry, you don't quite understand the question.
Oh, certainly. What I'm getting at is that you seem to have a great deal of goodwill in the community, and I do wonder, are you close with anyone in particular? Are you in love?
Well, I am promised to Sina, who is also in attendance at the estate for the portrait painting, is present for the tragedy. She's been they've been a great support.
Indeed. And Mix Chant is also a relative of Lord Walnut's?
No. They're the curator of his art collection.
All right. Very well, thank you. That's very helpful. Isa, what is your question for Dr. Kress? I do admit to a little bit surprised that Chloe outright admitted it, but I love it. That's great. Okay.
I mean, it's not really a secret.
By an item, do you mean the ether that was on the handkerchief? Okay, great. So I do have a question, one more question about the ether, I apologize.
Of course.
So, I don't suppose that would be something that you would give to a patient to not necessarily treat symptoms, but for use in other things, such as art or other hobbies. Is that something that you've ever been asked for? Or anything that Lord Walnut has asked you to provide, since he would have known that you had it?
I did take an oath before entering practice, Lady Susan, and that oath was to do no harm. And ether, if used irresponsibly, does have great potential to do harm. It is not something that I use lightly. It is not something that I prescribe to patients regularly unless they truly suffer from desperate insomnia in the direst cases, or extreme pain. It is not something that I would prescribe casually, if that is what you were asking.
Certainly. I do have one more question. Did you happen to examine the body after it was found?
No, sadly, I did not have the opportunity to examine it.
So you wouldn't have a guess as to the cause of death?
I'd be happy to take a look, but from my understanding and what I've been told, it was from meeting the ground from a second-story window.
Very well. That was all that I had. Please do send in the next person.
She nods. I do hope that you are able to find some answers, Lady Susan. The family is quite distressed, I can tell.
Yes, I hope so as well. Thank you for your time, Dr. Kress.
Nods again, and she is gonna go get Regina Walnut.
Okay.
And will hopefully find the widow by herself, or I'm guessing she's probably with Eleanor.
I was going to say Eleanor would not allow that without being
Eleanor, yeah,
You
gifted a
do
resolve
have quite a
token.
few resolve tokens, Dr.
I
Chris.
do. I will spend a resolve token to allow for Chloe to find Regina by herself.
Ooh. I'll take it because I'm broken resolve tokens.
I was going to say that feels
Right.
worse for you than for me. I'm letting Kraken the cat out after he came back in, after going out and after coming back in.
That seems correct.
Incredible. All right, go ahead and deduct that, Liz, and Heather,
Yep.
you can add one to your stash.
Sweet.
So the doctor approaches. Lady Walnut, I think are next to speak with Lady Susan. Are you all right?
I'm as well as can be expected. I thank you so much. You are truly appreciated, Doctor.
I do my best for the community, my lady. Would you like an escort to the office, or are you quite steady on your feet now?
An escort would be lovely. Thank you.
Of course, offers her arm,
I'll take it.
and then rests her other hand on Regina's hand, like in her arm. Oh, you are trembling. Are you certain you're quite steady?
I'll be all right. It's just so quite a lot.
Of course. Well, step easy. Take your time. And we continue that extremely charged walk to the office.
Amazing. Lady Susan is waiting. All right. And we'll welcome in Regina. Lady Walnut, so good to see you. Please have a seat. Dreadfully sorry for your loss.
If only we could have met under better circumstances. And I'll take a seat.
Indeed. All right. Allie, what is your question for Lady Walnut?
Hang right up.
Okay. Oh boy, all right. I noticed you're quite young, and you had not been married with Lord Walnut long. Is he your first husband by any chance?
I will offer a resolve token for him to not be her first husband.
I'll take it.
Okay, once again, resolve token exchange.
He is. I have had another wedding before. But in the eyes of the church and the law, he is my first husband. In a bit of youthful exuberance, I did elope with one of our stable hands. We were discovered before anything serious happened, and, well, everything was annulled rather quickly.
I see. Fair enough, that must have been a distressing situation. Were you engaged to anyone besides that stable hand, or was he your first, entanglement, shall we say?
He was my first entanglement. And then after that, my parents realized how eager I was to get married, and they, arranged a match with Lord Walnut.
Oh, this was an arranged marriage, by your parents.
They strongly encouraged it, yes. And he was a good man.
I see. Alright, Hannah, what is your question for Lady Walnut?
Let's go with this one.
Ooh. It seems that you and Lady Chartreuse have a strained relationship. How do you feel about having to interact with her without your husband as a buffer, shall we say?
Well, it's all quite distressing, isn't it? She's not the most pleasant of people, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I shall just have to do my best, and my dear Eleanor is very close with me and very helpful in such matters. She helps protect me from the more vicious people in the world.
Indeed, it is good to have a friend. All right, Isa, what you got? Okay. What do you think of the other members of the house, other relatives of your husband, and the other people who are here? And don't hesitate to be honest. It seems that you were very forthright about your feelings about Lady Chartreuse.
To be honest, I find most of them quite pleasant. Tessina has a wonderful eye for art, and the good doctor is well-meaning. And Eleanor is my dearest friend. I think the only one I don't or struggle to get along with is Lady Harmonia, though I do try my best. I do try to be good. I just never seem to be good enough for her. But I think none of us ever seem to be good enough for her.
Has Lady Harmonia been unfriendly to the other members of the household?
Oh, I think that she's at odds with almost everyone. In one way or the other.
Very well. All right, Liz, bring us home. What's your question? Okay, you have said that Miss Eleanor Oakley is your dearest friend. You two do seem to be very close by all accounts. How long have you been friends, may I ask?
Oh, well, we've been friends a decent amount of time. Since we were in finishing school, I suppose.
So you were already friends at the time of your elopement, or no?
Yes, we were friends then. We're closer now. She helped me get through a very difficult time after all of that.
How did she feel about, well, how did you perceive the way she felt about the whole affair?
She's always been very supportive of me, even when being supportive of me might not be in my own best interest. I don't think she approved, but she did what she could to help me. And that's the best anyone could ask for in a friend.
Thank you, Lady Walnut. This has been very helpful. I believe I have no further questions. Please send in the next resident, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll head out.
All right. Who are you sending in?
I think I'll send in, Tessina. Miss Chant.
Okay.
All right.
hopefully we're close to the end of all this nonsense. Well, not nonsense, difficulty, I suppose is the better word for it.
I would say difficulty rather than nonsense. However, I'm beginning to believe that many are taking it as though it is nonsense. Many more, I should say.
Sorry, I sometimes
It was a
struggle.
dire situation after all.
Yes, sometimes I struggle with my words when I'm a little frazzled.
Of course, naturally.
She would like to see you next.
All right, then. And they go in.
Okay. Mixed Hunt, good to see you. Please have a seat. All right, Liz, what you got for us for Tessina? This is gonna be fun. Okay. All right. So I suppose, as one disconnected from the Walnut family in general, you are perhaps the most unbiased observer here. Have you seen anything unusual during your stay, at the manor?
Quite a few things. I would say that prior to the event, many have been on edge, in particular. One must wonder, though, considering the relationship between all individuals, what sort of strain that was. But I suppose under this context, it can't be simply brushed off. There was a
No,
few.
indeed. Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, indeed.
Not
Any
so-
one detail could be important. Go on.
Well, what with Lord Walnut continually getting assessed, it is strange that he would go through a window, of course. And one wonders if maybe his nerves were racked up due to that of certain members of the household, certain members who hold a lot of sway over what happens. And they're trying to be like, how do I tell this without saying it out loud? How do I know what will protect me?
Certain members of the household that have sway over what happens, who do you mean in particular? I think that many of the residents here might have some amount of sway considering their relationship to the deceased.
So, of course, you have Lady Harmonia, Chartreuse, who is a great impact on him. You do have Lady Walnut herself, both at odds continually. And Miss Oakley as well, of course. Surprisingly more influence than one would assume. He is just a visitor and companion to Lady Walnut, of course. So it makes it odd.
Certainly. Okay. Heather, what is your question for Tessina? speaking, you're muted. Okay, you're typing. Great.
Yeah, typing. It took me a
Okay.
second to think of a good one.
Yeah, no worries.
As after hearing someone that had been asked before, I kept having to adjust the ones that I had put in my document. Like, I've got it. No, I don't.
Okay. Oh, what a good one. All right. So I'm to understand that you are known as Lord Walnut's curator. What kind of work do you do for him precisely?
Well, I am able to apprise older artwork. I restore certain ones that are done that have damage to them, such as smoke or age, oils that have darkened over time. I catalog what he has, both in the fine arts of jewelry, musical compositions he has been gifted by well-renowned composers, and art, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He has an word. He has a vast collection, and he required a great deal of help.
And how did you come to Lord Walnut's notice? How did you come to be employed by him?
I have gained some notoriety. Though without a very well-to-do name, my practices are impeccable. And so he heard of it through other dealers and other collectors, and then I believe through someone in his family, perhaps. I'm uncertain to the exact of how it came to be, but that is the extent of it. He contacted me, and it happened.
Very well. All right, Allie, what is your question for Tessina? Okay, interesting. You have been very thoughtful in your answers, almost guarded, if I am being honest. Is anyone here holding something over you?
Think about it in a multitude of other ways, and they're just like, no one here at the moment. I am a curator, so there are always difficulties that come up. However, nothing of that nature over art or his collection has caused me duress. As to the nature of me being guarded, I suppose that is just in the business. But they're giving eyes. They're like,
What about in your knowledge of Lord Walnut in general, or anything you might have seen around the house? You did say that you observed quite a few tensions between the residents over the past days.
they think about it, and they say, considering the nature that death is involved, hushed whispers shouldn't be that uncanny or unsettling. However, there has been quite a bit of that, particularly between two individuals in particular, perhaps three. I don't
Which
know how to
individuals?
say this
Certainly.
easily. Yes.
The nature of our interview will remain between you and me. if that is your concern.
Yes, well, I suppose. 3 individuals. Not all at once. Lady Walnut, with both Miss Oakley, has been often at quiet conversations. And then there has been other conversations held rather closely with Lady Walnut and Dr. Cress.
Very well. Hannah, what is your question for Tessina? Very interesting. All right. I have observed in the moments that I've been here that Lady Chartreuse, the only person you didn't mention, looks at you with some amount of worry in her eyes. Is that only due to your involvement with Lord Walnut's collection, or is there something else?
I am uncertain. It could very well be. I am a studier of art. I do not study people as greatly as I perhaps should.
But you have...
What answer do you want me to give?
I mean, if you truly don't know, you may tell me that freely and honestly, but if you have any suspicions that might shed light on the current case, that could be useful.
No. No, not in regards to Lady Chartreuse.
All right. One more question, Mixed Chant. Dr. Cress mentioned that the two of you are betrothed. How are you feeling about that betrothal currently?
Anything that they've been doing just stops. I understand that it's no longer my business. I wish to have answers for you in that. And emotional as they can be, I think mine are anxious. Simply due to the fact that there's been so much darkness shed over our current situation. If that is an answer that would suffice.
Lady Susan is perfectly satisfied with that answer because it was very different from Chloe's. So, so she nods and says, "Thank you, Mixed Chant. That will be all. Will you please send in Miss Oakley?"
Right, of course, right away. And they go out. They find Miss Oakley wherever Hannah has stashed her.
At the door, letting Kraken back in once again.
Kraken took a very long time.
Oh, he's just been in and out for the like he just keeps going to different doors and yelling to come back in, and then going to a different door and yelling to go out.
This is the best cat. Thank you for that lovely detail. Miss Oakley, I believe, our very good friend, Lady Susan, is looking for you at the moment.
Oh, Mixed Chant, thank you for letting me know. Was it quite terrible?
Painful.
What was that?
Painful.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All of this has been quite hard for all of us, but I'm sorry you're caught up in it. I know it's not really anything to do with you, and I'm so sorry that you have to be here for part of it, but thank you for not leaving us alone with Lady Chartreuse. That would be, well, Would you appreciate the buffer?
Right.
Would you mind? I think he's going to want to come back in a few minutes.
Of course. I'll handle Kraken.
Thank you very much.
So I
And
just go pick up Kraken and walk out.
do a little curtsy
I'm
and
taking the cat.
he's damp because it's raining outside.
Mm.
Totally
And he
fine.
into your arms. He's like a big gray fluffy thing, I think.
He is
And
100%
yeah, I will go.
gray fluffy thing.
I will go to the interrogation room.
Okay. All right. Lady Susan greets you as well as the others. Miss Oakley, good to see you. Do come in. Sit down.
Thank you for coming to help us, Lady Susan.
Of course.
And I will go sit down.
All right. Isa, do you have a question for Miss Oakley? Interesting. All right. I have been told by several that you and Lady Walnut are very close, have been friends for some time.
Yes, we're very dear friends.
Yes, clearly. How did you feel about the relationship between her and her husband?
Oh, well, it's not my place to have feelings about her relationship with her husband. That's between them. It's my place is to be here to support her and help them, and that also meant supporting him and making sure that they were happy together and had what they needed to understand each other. Does that answer your question? It's not for me to be. Wouldn't have been for me to know too much about their relationship with each other.
Oh, of course. But what you were privy to, I am certain you must have had opinions about.
I only wanted Regina to be happy. She's very young, and he was slightly young, as you know. And arranged marriages are, well, they can be difficult. And so I was concerned for her happiness, and certainly only wanted the best for her. So certainly I had opinions, but they were only my opinions, and they were not to stand in the way of anything. I took them in, and I provided what advice and comfort I could to help encourage her on her path, the path she had chosen.
Very well. What was your acquaintanceship with Lord Walnut like? Did he you have been staying with them for some time. Was he kind to you? Did he ever behave poorly toward you because of your close friendship with his wife? What was that like?
Oh, I wouldn't say behaved poorly towards me. I mean, he allowed me to stay here and keep my dear Regina company, and made sure that I was fed and had a soft place to sleep. And I know he was quite kind and generous. I don't think he understood our friendship entirely, but gentlemen of a certain age, they do become quite lonely in their old age. As you know, they don't necessarily know how to develop relationships outside of their immediate family sphere. And so he just didn't understand entirely, but he was tolerant and generous. And so she just kind of shrugs a bit. I never felt unwelcome when he was around. Now, it might be different, of course, depending on what the will says. But that's
We shall certainly see. Yes, once it is read. All right. Liz, what is your question for Miss Oakley? Amazing. Okay. So your devotion to Lady Walnut is clear. Any young lady would certainly be lucky to have you as a friend. And yet, I'm curious, how is it that someone such as yourself, someone promising and caring and dedicated, is unmarried. I can't imagine you haven't had options, especially since you went to finishing school with Lady Walnut. And there have been some circles that you would have been brought into recently, after she married Lord Walnut.
Oh, and she sort of looks down and away for a moment. Of course, there were options, but to tell you the truth, I don't want to get married. I've watched any number of people go that route, and I obviously want the best for them, but it does not always seem to work out in a way that leads to their fulfillment and happiness. And I know that's a very modern notion that is likely aspiring above my station, but it just doesn't seem like a path that would lead me to where I would like to be in any way. But some people are clever and capable and able to rise through the military or through careers, and that wasn't going to be an option for me. So I've done the best that I can by using what I have. I'm very loyal, and I can be very agreeable and make people's lives much easier. And so that's what I've done instead, just trying to find my place in the world. And I thought it was here with Regina and her husband, and it seemed to be working very well. I was quite comfortable and happy, and I do hope that will continue now, but I don't wish to be married, if that's what you mean, if that's what you're asking.
Certainly. Makes sense. I've seen many young people not wish to be married these days.
She looks visibly relieved.
Heather, what is your question for Miss Oakley?
Oh boy.
This is going to be why you're so great.
Something like that.
The question we all want to know the answer to.
Oh, shiminy.
Lady Susan would never. She might.
Okay. When in doubt, keep it general, I suppose.
Okay. So since you have been with Lady Walnut this whole time, I'm sure you've had ample opportunity to observe the other members of the house that are currently staying here. How do you feel about the rest of them? I would be glad for your honest opinion.
So just to be clear, is by members of the household, are we talking about like the people who live here full time, or are we talking about the people who are here for the?
Let's say
Here for the
it's
murder
the other
mystery.
main characters, so Lady Chartreuse, Tessina, and Chloe.
Because Eleanor would be delighted to tell you, I've become great friends with the servants since I arrived to help Regina. We all work together in service of supporting the family. But I had a feeling that wasn't what you were getting at.
I do like that answer though.
She will start with that.
Okay.
As for the rest, well, you'll pardon me. I will just need to collect my thoughts because to best support Regina and Lord Walnut. Of course, I am not accustomed to speaking those thoughts aloud because it's really none of my business. It was Lord Walnut's house and Lady Walnut's house, but I understand. I do want to help the investigation. Well, I think, well, Dr. Kress, I suppose, is the person I know best, although you'll understand that even that is not, it does not mean to say that I know her well. She is a professional who works in the household and seems very professional, and very principled, and, oh, right, we're related. And I realize that to say I don't know her well when we are, after all, cousins is a bit that may come off as a bit strange, and I don't want you to think I'm trying to hide anything. It's that we've just grown apart a bit. We were not close as children, and as adults, I went to finishing school and she went to medical school, and so we just have moved in different circles, and I'm afraid it's been a bit awkward being back so close in proximity without having but interacting in such different ways. So I think we're trying to feel our way, but she is my cousin, and I do think she takes her work very seriously, and I admire her ambition. She's one of those clever people who was able to rise in the world through means other than simply marriage, and I admire that very much. Mixed chance,
Yes,
again, I know less well. They have. I don't wish to speak ill of anyone, but you did hear that. And Isa, correct me if I am misremembering or misreading, but you did hear that one of Lord Walnut's masterpieces has gone missing.
I had not heard that.
And I see Isa's typing, so I'm just going to wait to see if they are correcting that. Okay, cool. Thank you. I thought that was what I saw in the description. And I don't want to assume that anyone in particular did that, or that it was even done in the sense that I've read too many novels and am spend a great deal of time alone speaking with cats when Regina's busy elsewhere. So it could be just a mere flight of fancy, but they have done wonders for the collection. But I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. Maybe the masterpiece was simply removed for cleaning or restoration. I don't know them well other than that they apparently have a very keen eye for art.
Of course.
And I think
about Lady Chartreuse.
I think it's best that well, is this just between us?
Of course.
I'm very concerned about Lady Chartreuse. I told
Why
you
is
what good friend I was with what good a friend I am with the servants. Yes, I mentioned that.
You did.
I'm sure someone has mentioned to you. The servants did tell me that they overheard Lord Walnut and Lady Chartreuse arguing shortly before the fall about the will that he was trying to have. That Lady Chartreuse was trying to have my dear Regina written out, and Lord Walnut was insisting that he never would. The servants, they didn't mean to. Please don't hold anything against them. They did not mean to eavesdrop. Do I see? Oh, these are eyes. Sorry, I kept the chat covered up. They didn't mean to eavesdrop. They just kept hearing the call bells and going to answer that are in the floors everywhere in the manor. You've probably heard them. Sometimes we just walking about. They kept hearing the call bells and going to answer, and then realizing that it was an accident, and then they would leave again, so as to not overhear anything they shouldn't overhear. But it was quite loud. And there was the handkerchief. I don't know where. It's an old-fashioned remedy. We all know how Lady Chartreuse feels about old things, and maybe she has it for her own use. Some people apparently find it enjoyable, although I certainly wouldn't know about that.
Certainly.
So I'm simply concerned. I'm very concerned. Yes, where's your resolve token?
So I have a quick clarifying question.
Mm-hmm.
The ether detail.
Yes.
Is that something that's known to the rest of the group? As far as I'm aware, we all only know that Lord Walnut was pushed out a window.
Oh, that's fun. I thought the planted evidence was common knowledge. But if not, I am happy to accept the resolve token for that. If I misunderstood that.
Because I would very much like for that to not have been common knowledge, and I would happily offer a resolve token for that.
I remember last session that Eleanor said, "We've seen enough of your handkerchiefs to Lady Harmonia."
Certainly did.
However,
but
I don't know that means everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that contradicts anything that we've done in any way. do you think, Hannah?
I think I'm happy to accept the resolve token. I would like. I'm trying to think if there's anything, if there's any sort of counter condition I would like to ask for.
Sure.
I think I don't know if I could counter condition something that would involve another Allie's character. Because the condition that I would like to ask for is that Lady Chartreuse reacted in a potentially suspicious looking way, which
To
does
the
not
comment about the
to the
handkerchief.
comment about the handkerchief.
So I think
Like,
that resolve token would end up going to Allie.
End up going to Allie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So one docked out of my reserve, Allie, that goes to you.
I actually feel like if this is good, if can I walk that back, because I feel like this is bad enough for me. This still feels worse for me than it does for Lady Chartreuse. So I think I would prefer to just to skip the skip the condition and just take the token if that's amenable to people.
Yeah.
Because that still feels pretty fun, like good for Hannah, but very bad for Eleanor.
We support creating your own mess. All right.
Fabulous. Thank you.
We support women's wrongs.
Amazing.
Yes, I have docked that token on my
Delightful.
end.
I have added a token.
Okay, so
that's fun. Good.
Um,
Liz, you're
that
crushing it with the
brings
resolve
us-
tokens tonight.
for real. my
Look,
goodness.
you give me a stash, and I will
Yep.
make it work.
Approved.
We all appreciate you for it. All right, Allie, it is your turn to give a question for Eleanor to wrap this up.
There.
Oh
boy.
no, I forgot there was another question still to go.
Yup.
That's
Okay, wonderful. We will wrap it up with that. So then, one more question, Miss Oakley, if you don't mind.
Anything that I can do to be helpful?
So before you came to stay with Lord and Lady Walnut, how did you make your living if you weren't a careerist?
I suppose the simplest answer is that I didn't. As I said, I'm not very clever and not very well positioned, so I have relied on the kindness of others. And sort of like looking down, looking sheepish. And not sheepish, that's not quite, but like dismayed, embarrassed.
Thank you for answering honestly. That will be all. I appreciate your time.
Please don't think less of me. I am doing my best.
I am only here to solve a possible murder, or potentially discover that there hasn't been one.
Do you think that's a possibility?
Quite a great many things are a possibility, although I hope that these interviews will shed some light on the truth of the matter.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to us all. I hope you have a good evening.
You as well.
Eleanor will depart.
Okay, wow, these were incredible. Thank you all for your excellent questions. We will now go into a brief epistolary phase. So this is a little bit different than the normal epistolary phase because this will take place only overnight, so it's not necessarily long letters or missives. These are meant to be more of notes left on pillows or passed through the hallways or delivered via servants who were paid for their secrecy. As always, each of you may send up to 2 messages, but I will ask that you keep them as brief as possible so that we can move on to our next novel chapter. So, does anybody have a note they would like to send?
Can we send to servants?
Sure.
All right. Lady Harmonia sends a note to Beetles the butler. She wants... I think she probably knows her conversation was overheard and she wants to speak to a servant that she trusts. Figure out what's... So she sends a letter to Beetles. Like, dear Beetles, I must speak with you at your earliest convenience. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask Allie a question?
Yes.
I just did. Was what Lady Chartreuse told Lady Susan about the argument, was that the truth?
Yes.
Delightful. Thank you. That's my only question. I will return to pondering.
And I think she sends a note to Lady Susan that says, like, thank you again for your work today. I hope you will be the very model of discretion about whatever comes of this. And I hope this is all resolved shortly. And that is Harmonia's 2 letters.
Perfect.
All
Right.
Regina's gonna send a message to Tessina.
Oh, okay.
Dear Tessina, with our exchange earlier, I felt like perhaps I had offended you in some way, and that's never been my intent. Please do let me know if I've made some missteps so I can rectify it. Appreciatively, Regina.
Okay. Any other notes?
I have one to Chloe.
Okay.
Yes. It says, Chloe, I must ask you, beg you if I must, to know what extent you are involved with Lady Walnut. If you had any love of me, you will tell me the truth. Meet me if you cannot write me all. It just says Tessina.
Ooh.
I would love for there to be a crossing of letters, where like
Okay.
Dr. Kress has written one, and they like before actually seeing this one. But I see a resolve
Okay.
token first.
Yes, let's resolve that resolve token first, and then we'll do your letter.
I was gonna fuck with some letters, but I will rescind my resolve token for this to play out instead.
Okay.
Okay.
And then just let us know if there's anything else you want to do afterward. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Chloe.
Okay. So I think there's in the early part of the evening, like while the interviews are going on, but after she has finished hers, Chloe goes upstairs and opens the letters that Tessina had written, and reads every single one of them, and writes a note and drops it on Tessina's pillow, or like somewhere where it's like visible but not like immediately visible, so that we can have this like cross purposing of letters.
Sure.
My dear Tessina, all the apologies I have in me are not enough to atone for the neglect I've shown you these past months. I've read and reread your unopened letters this evening, and I'm a fool. I do not deserve you, and I understand if you will no longer have me. Please meet me under the staircase this evening, at your earliest convenience. And that's it.
Wonderful.
All of this is delightful. Eleanor sends has a note delivered to Beetles the butler.
Okay.
Effectively, my dear friend Beetles, I'm so sorry for the trouble that that all of this has no doubt caused for the staff. I do hope that all will return to normal very soon. Please If you or the staff hear of anything untoward tonight, if you will please let me know. Your friend, Eleanor.
Okay. Amazing. Does anyone else have a note?
I do.
Okay.
I have one. I have one to Lady Susan. It says, I know who did it. Should anything happen to me, know it was due to my knowledge and hoping to ensure one I love has nothing to do with it prior to informing you such. Cena. Insurance, but I do want to go out a window still.
Okay. I do see that resolve token once again. Allie, what do you got?
All right. What if that letter is intercepted and gets to Regina?
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
What do you think, Tessina?
As long as whatever happens to Cena, it is not an actual death, I'm totally fine.
Oh yeah, no. We're not going to TPK. Unless.
Well, unless.
Unless.
Dun, dun, dun. Thank you. Sure.
Okay. Please deduct that from your stash, Allie, and Isa, you can add it to yours. Okay. So Tessina has sent 2, Lady Harmonia has sent 2, and Regina, Chloe, and Eleanor have each sent 1. Do any of the 3 of you have another note to send?
I have a very generous resolve token offer that I would like to make to Allie, because I would like to forge a letter in Lady Harmonia's handwriting.
Ooh.
Specifically
Yes.
a confession to be delivered to Dr. Kress.
Ooh, okay.
Yes! Yes.
If I had multiple resolve, I do have multiple resolve tokens. Like, I kind of feel like I should give you both of them, but I don't know if that's because I realize this is a big ask. But that's my proposal.
No, I love this. You only have to give me one.
Delightful. I will retain one for future use.
Okay, go ahead and mark those as spent and received. Eleanor, what are you writing? A confession?
It is a confession to mimicking to the best of her ability Lady Harmonia's handwriting. I feel like she would have seen Lady Harmonia's handwriting, and she would be mimicking probably her style of speech more. I suspect she is like I don't know if she's seen a lot of her correspondence, like enough to forge her signature, but like it's basically a confession. Not
I would
long,
bet that
not flowery.
Eleanor has access to Lord Walnut's correspondence.
Yeah, that makes
Gina, so
True, she
yeah,
probably does.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, just accurately describing the circumstances of the death in a forgery with Lady Chartreuse confessing.
Okay. Very juicy. Okay, Chloe or Regina, do either of you have another note?
So I got a letter basically saying I know who did it.
Yeah, you did.
That was addressed for Lady Susan.
Yep. From Tessina.
From Tessina. I don't think... And it doesn't have my name on it, right?
Nope. Just says, I know who did it, and if something happens to me, it's because I know, and I'm trying to protect my loved one from this whole thing.
I have the entire letter written if you would prefer
Yes,
to
please.
see
That'd
it.
be great. Because
Because I write everything in a Word document. So that
Love
way I
that.
don't forget things. Here it
Go
is.
for it.
cool. This is not a thing like. I'm just going to bury that letter somewhere
Mhm.
in my possessions. So,
Okay.
but I'm not going to send another letter tonight. Cool.
Okay. Chloe, how about you? Do you have a second note?
Um. Hmm.
If you want to give it some thought over our break, I'll happily give you the opportunity to send one really quick when we come back, if you have it.
I don't think she has another letter. Like, I don't think she wants to go too hard
Mhm.
into Regina. Like, she's been laid it on pretty thick
Mhm.
and wants to give her like. We'll see. We'll see what
Yes.
happens tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So then with that, we will take a 7-minute break and we'll come back at 35 after the hour.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
All right, friends. See you then. All right, we are waiting for Liz, but it looks like everyone else is back. While we are waiting, everyone, we are going to need to discuss the will shortly because we all get to decide what the contents are of that. So that will come up very quickly. So be thinking about what you think the will should look like.
Amazing. And can you remind us what the rest of the play cycle looks like in terms of scenes?
Yes. So we have another novel chapter, which is next, and that will be when the will is read at some point. That's going to be my visitation scene, is when the will is read. And then after that, we have a confrontation phase in which Lady Susan gets to assemble everyone and ask each of them what they think happened to Lord Walnut, and at that point, we will decide how we want this story to end. Does the murderer get convicted? Does someone else get falsely convicted? Is it an accidental death? And one other thing that I forgot. Or someone confesses.
Delightful, thank you.
So those are our 4 options. We all get to decide on the ending. You can also offer any caveats that you want to have happen during that section. And so yes, so I'm going to try to keep this novel chapter very short so that we have enough time for confrontation and epilogue. Welcome back, Liz. But at this point, we are going to need to decide what are the contents of the will. But first, I will take everyone's ideas for scenes for the next novel chapter.
I mean, I think the scene with Tessina and Chloe meeting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I would
Enter
like a
Lady
scene
Susan.
with Tessina and Lady Chartreuse.
Okay.
I feel like Eleanor's done enough, and I'm having trouble thinking of something
Sure, no problem.
that
We
she
can come
should
back to
do.
you.
So yeah, it might be a late breaking one.
Okay, no problem. Regina or Tessina?
Who intercepted my letter again? I forgot.
Regina did.
It was Regina, correct?
Yeah.
Regina
So I
received
think
your letter. Yes.
yeah. So Regina, Tessina confrontation scene, please.
Sure.
I don't know that you know that the letter went astray.
No, I don't.
But this
that
is
doesn't
the
mean
player
I can't.
suggesting the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to set up whether or not I go down the stairs or go out the window, Hannah. Come on, help me out
Oh, I
here.
forgot. I'm sorry. I was thinking confrontation over the letter, and I was yeah.
Oh no, not that confrontation.
Delightful.
All right, Regina, you got one?
I honestly,
Heather, you're muted if you're talking.
I am talking, thank you. I know what Regina the character's, like, tendency to do would be to, like, just hole up and, like, be in a holding pattern and wait for the next round to play.
Uh-huh.
But I think she does actually, once she gets that letter, she desperately wants to talk to Tessina. And I think that I will just say that she goes to find Tessina to, like, straighten things out.
Okay. Clear up misunderstandings. Okay, so we'll start with those. We'll and we'll sprinkle in Eleanor and the reading of the will. All right. There we go. There's our scenes. We will Okay. Yeah, feel free to bring that in as it comes up. We'll add it to the list, Hannah. And in the meantime, which of these scenes do we want to do first? Tessina, you are in so many of them.
I only know whichever one puts me off the balcony stair window closer to last, because that would probably be the most fun. I guess Lady Chartreuse first.
Okay.
Before seeing my lover, and then possibly vaulting.
All right, Allie, you up for
I
it?
don't know why I have such an obsession with this. It's just...
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, no.
Mom, come back! Why do I have such terrible luck with mothers?
We are here to support your scene dreams. Again, the indulgence is real, and we are here to support it. All right, how are we doing, Allie?
This is just a joke.
Paging, Allie.
I know.
Oh, no! Oh, my goodness.
Merde. Afangul.
All right, how's it looking now, Allie? Can you hear us? We cannot hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, now I can hear
We can
you.
hear you now.
Okay. Ugh.
Okay.
Yes.
The last thing I heard is, Allie, are you up for it? But that was after some static. So I
Okay.
assume you were asking if
Yes,
we were going to
Tessina
do
and
a scene.
Harmonia. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
All systems go. I will be watching time. So we have enough time for the confrontation. So I may give you a nudge in a few minutes to wrap it up. Just FYI.
Okay.
All right, thank you, time. All right, thank you.
All righty.
All right. Allie, where do you think Lady Chartreuse would best want this conversation to happen?
So I think actually Harmonia has been keeping her distance because lots of feelings. And I think happens almost by happenstance. She emerges from her meeting, her little tete-a-tete with Beetle, looking worn out and just a little dazed. And I think runs like right into Tessina. Like, oh. And they're in, I'll say, like a hallway, kind of deep in the house. She seems like almost very surprised to see anyone. She's like, oh, I beg your pardon, my dear. I didn't mean to run into you.
Oh, no, of course not. Lady Chartreuse, I was not intending to run into you either. Forgive me. I was not here for any particular reason. I was moving on.
Right, of course, you have always been respectful of everyone's wishes. Tessina.
What more can I do?
And she looks around, she sees like there's a parlor, and kind of like, would you step in here? I suppose if the heavens have been to put me in your path, perhaps there is a reason for it.
Right. To you, Lady Chartreuse.
She steps in. When Tessina steps in as well, she closes the door behind them. As it has been quite some time since we spoke, you and I. I'm quite happy to hear how well you've gotten along in your career.
Yes, well, I suppose I have not heard from you often, so I have not been able to inform you as such. I'm happy to hear that you are happy. about
Yes.
these things.
Lately, I have had cause to look over the choices I have made, and perhaps there is, of course, no changing what I have done, but I would like to say that I am glad you are in this world, and I wish you only the best.
So you wish me, so you are glad that I am in this world, but you only wish me the best.
I
I don't
feel
think I quite. Go ahead.
I have set myself up in your life. It would be presumptuous of me to expect anything more than to be a person who might wish you well. I have no right to intrude further than that, and I'm not even sure I would know how.
You are the person who gave birth to me. I know you don't actually have a say. No, you don't. Why bother then? Why these conversations at all? Because you're not going to do anything about it. Can't even ask what I would want.
No, you're right. My dear, what would you want?
I'm afraid I can't tell you now because I have learned to be reticent and secretive so I don't damage your good name. That is almost all I think about.
Yes. I see how that would be the logical outcome of the strictures you have been existing in.
Yes, I suppose in that way, in learning how and when to speak, you have taught me well.
Yes, well, I gave you so little. At least I gave you a lesson, even if it wasn't the one I would have wished. Forgive me, I think I shall retire to my room and think of what you have said. I don't know where to go from here, but I do want you to know that you have a family, and though it has not been one that has been welcoming or kind, it is here. Perhaps too late, but it is here. And she lifts her chin like, I hope you have a good evening, and I would like to speak more with you tomorrow if that is agreeable.
Zay nods her head. I would very much like that, Lady Chartreuse.
Then I will speak with you soon. And as she turns to leave, slips out her handkerchief, looks at it, feels that apprehension she now has about her handkerchief thanks to Lady Susan's questions, and I think she leaves the room. Whatever she thought she was going to do, I think she's been confronted with more feelings than she expected and is a bit of a loss.
So sorry.
No, it's good.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad.
If it is okay with all parties, I would like to swing into Tessina and Chloe, unless, Hannah, you have a more fleshed out idea for Eleanor's scene.
I think Eleanor would, if it please Liz, we'll go talk. Have a brief. Well, I assume brief conversation with Chloe. We can find out, but I have no strong feelings about when it occurs.
Okay.
Okay. So then, Isa, since you are in most of these scenes, do you want your break now or after the next one?
Either or is fine.
Okay, someone make a decision, please.
Hannah. Go, Hannah, go.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I thought that was voluntary. Yeah, I'm happy to go.
Okay, great. So
yeah.
then you and Chloe, and then we'll do Tessina and Chloe. Great.
Yeah. So Eleanor would just look for a moment, probably go to Chloe's office ish space, but would find Chloe wherever. Oh wait, you know what? Let me look at the collaboration. Finds Chloe in the hedge maze. I don't know what Chloe's out. And the hedge maze. Maze.
I desperately want, like, can this be just, like, I want this to, if it's all right with you, this to have been an invitation from Eleanor of just, like, meet me in the hedge maze. And Chloe's like, hell are you, what?
Absolutely.
You weirdo?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, just wanted to be sure I could get you alone. Yeah. I'm totally not going to do a murder. It's fine. Got one resolved token left. I don't know what to do with that. Yeah, meet you in the hedge maze with no knives or anything in evidence. I need to get back to Eleanor mindset. So I think it's like just sit like in the center of the hedge maze, just sitting on a bench that's there waiting. Stands up when she sees Chloe.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. Is everything all right?
Well, I mean, aside from everything that happened, I don't think anything's all right for any number of people. But yes, the investigator asked what I thought of you, of everyone in the house, and I realized as I was answering that we haven't really talked, have we? Even though we're both here. And I just thought I know you don't think much of me, but I do admire you, and I just thought I should say.
Where did you get this idea that I don't think much of you?
It's sort of the tone you use when you're talking to me, and also the look on your face. I might be mistaken.
I will just say that we are certainly very different.
Yes, I agree. I do understand that we are very different, and I don't want to presume. I just wanted to say that I'm glad we're here. Not here. Well, here in the hedge maze also.
Thank you. I am also glad to be here. I wish you would stop apologizing for existing, though.
Eleanor looks confused. What should I do instead?
Just live your life. I mean,
I was.
If there's anything that I have genuine criticism of, it is that you, and she seems lovely. Lady Walnut is certainly a presence, but you are just constantly living in her shadow. You exist.
Oh, I don't mind.
Well, it doesn't matter if you mind. You get to take up space, too.
I have a guest room here. I have a whole room. For now, who knows what will happen after the lawyer? You didn't... I'm sorry, I don't mean to change the subject. Did you see anything unusual the other night, or hear anything unusual? You don't know what happened, did you? Do you?
The night of Lord Walnut's death? No.
It seems
Did
like
you?
no one did. I'm sure the investigator will get to the bottom of it.
Well, one would presume that is what her job
It's
is.
her job. Is it starting to rain?
Did you really just call me out here in the middle of the hedge maze to say, cousin, I like you, and I'm glad you're here?
Yes. Should I not have done that? I'm sorry.
And no, I'm just a bit confused as to why you called me to the hedge maze to have that conversation.
I
see
see
a
a
resolve
resolve token from Allie.
Oh yeah. It's kind of alluded to, but rainstorm happens while
Yeah.
they're in the hedge maze.
Incredible. How do we feel about that?
I feel good about it. Was angling for it.
That's fine by
Okay.
me.
All right.
I don't know who that's bad for. If
It's
anyone,
not really bad
I'm
for
happy to
either,
just I'm
really.
happy to just stipulate that it happens.
Yeah, the resolve token goes off into the ether. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great.
and I wish to
Hey.
stipulate that it takes us longer than it should to find their way out. Because,
Yeah. It's like,
that-
this way. Nope, this way.
yeah.
Gods.
I
Delightful.
love that for all of us. All right, please mark that resolve token as spent, Allie. And
Yep.
do either of you want anything else from this scene?
I got everything I wanted from this scene.
It's fine by
Okay.
me. The weird
Incredible.
cousin.
Then the weird cousin. All right, we will segue into Tessina and Chloe, who is now drenched. We love
Yep.
that for all parties. Okay.
We do. Yeah. Yes. Do you want it to segue right into just are we in the foyer, or are we just am I meeting you outside in this hedge maze?
No, I think there's probably a oh gosh, is there like a solarium where you've got kind of just like big giant glass windows like on all sides?
There is now if we want it.
Yeah, I'll say there's a solarium. We can put whatever we want on Lord Walnut's estate.
We
Solarium.
can.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's where the meeting is happening, I think.
All right. You did say in your letter that it was under the stairs. So we'll say
Well-
that there's a second level to the solarium.
Yes.
It has that wonderful spiral staircase. So
Yes, I love this.
me too.
So yeah, Chloe appears a little disheveled, very damp.
The scene is just like, what on earth happened?
I am so sorry. My cousin said that she needed to see me in the maze and then told me that she was glad that I was here. And so now I am quite drenched.
Right.
It
Yes, I can
sounds
see that.
ridiculous. I promise that's what happened. It sounds ridiculous, I realize.
I do have issue with trying to figure out how it could be anything else, considering the way you look. So I suppose in consideration of this weekend, anything is possible, and I could be, well, things could be a lot worse. I did
Good.
receive your letter, obviously. I didn't read to step over what you were saying.
Oh no, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I do want to apologize face to face. You deserve at least that.
Right. So this weekend is going to be worse than initially thought, considering you said at least that. Feels like there is more, isn't there?
I'm sorry, worse how?
You have been having a great deal of conversation with the lady of the house and a few others, aside from your cousin, of course. And I understand the circumstances do call you to speak to the bereaved. But you didn't do an autopsy on Lord Walnut. So your reach would be not to have to worry so greatly about the bereaved other than a few small conversations.
I see a resolve token. Hannah, what is your resolve token proposal?
I would like to offer Isa a resolve token that something about the angle at which they're standing and the quality of the light here in the glassed-in solarium. I would like to propose that Chloe notices a striking similarity between Tessina and Lady Harmonia as this conversation proceeds.
Ooh.
Would that affect Allie more, though?
Oh, I don't know. I'm happy to offer the token to whoever we think it would be worse for.
I think you can make an argument either way. Because of the last conversation between the two of them, Lady Harmonia seems to want to mend fences but doesn't really know what to do, and Tessina seems hesitant to let her. So, what do we think?
The scandal seems to potentially attach to Lady Harmonia more, but
Yes.
Tessina has the relationship with Chloe.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, jeez. Allie, do you
Okay.
want it? I'll toss it to whoever wants it more.
I will gladly take it because I'm.
There we go. Answer.
Yeah, I'm worried that I won't be able to do all the things I want to do.
All right.
Oh, no. Well, I'm going to be fresh out if you take it, so I'm sure that'll be fine.
Absolutely. Everything is fine. All right, Hannah, please mark that as spent and Allie as received. Continue.
All right. So there's a moment just like, there's an expression on Chloe's face of like studying Tessina, and then like a light slowly going on. Has anyone ever told you that you bear a resemblance to Lady Chartreuse?
Oh, I don't think I've had that comparison made. Why?
Because you bear a rather striking resemblance to Lady Chartreuse in this light. The shape of your cheekbones and the way the shadow falls across them.
I take it you have given sharp study then of Lady Chartreuse's cheekbones and jawline.
She does have a very distinctive face. I can't deny that. I think everyone who's met her would say that she strikes a cutting figure.
If you say so. Why are you bringing it up?
It answers some questions that I didn't know I had. About your investment in this family.
So you are going on assumption, considering I have said nothing of the sort to confirm your suspicions.
It is assumption. That's a fair statement. I apologize if I've offended you.
Else you wish to speak of, because this topic is considerably upsetting. And I don't imagine that was what you had intended to bring up.
And Chloe kind of looks at Tessina, like, a little perplexed. Like, why would this topic be upsetting? Unless there's something there. But we'll let that go. I'm led to understand that you've had a rather distressing past day.
Yes, as have you, I am certain. Murder is most foul, and all that. Or what is assumed, who knows? I don't even know what to say. What are you speaking of with Lady Walnut?
With Lady Walnut, it's...
Please answer carefully, because...
Assuaging concerns, checking on her well-being.
At all.
Well, quite candidly, there doesn't seem to be a thought between those two ears of hers.
What of Miss Oakley, then?
I am still a bit perplexed as to... Oh, sorry, did someone say
Liz,
something?
I would like you to offer you a resolve token for a butler to come into the solarium at that moment to summon you both to the will reading.
Sure. That's fine by me.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. I'm gonna take one of Lady Susan's tokens, and you may
That's
have
my-
that.
That's
added
my
to-
friend Beetles. Look it out for me.
Yeah. All right. So Beetles the butler arrives. Excuse me, Dr. Cress, Mix Chant. You're wanted in the study for the reading of the will.
Yes. Thank you, Beetles. We shall be there shortly.
Of course. He bows to both of you and heads back out.
And Chloe offers her arm to Tessina.
I wish I had more answers than you're giving me. I will be there in a minute.
Very well. I hope that we shall be offered some time to actually have a conversation without constant interruptions.
Seems to be our life, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly the last day. And kind of
I hope
nods.
it's not the last day of our life.
Oh God, what? None of those morbid thoughts, Tessina. Please.
Unfortunately, I've had many over the last few days.
And Chloe looks a little bit alarmed, but will exit the solarium at that point.
Okay. All right. Isa and Heather, thoughts on will reading or a confrontation scene? Do you prefer either of those? In which order?
I will defer to for what the no takes backsies.
Thoughts, Heather?
Let's do will reading first.
Okay, so everyone gathers in the study for the will reading. Eleanor and Chloe are kind of damp. It's fine.
It's raining out.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
fuss-
naturally. There's no
Damn.
reason.
I'm
Of
gonna fuss
course.
over my friend. Oh, darling, you're all
Oh.
wet.
Eleanor would definitely have gone to change after that if there was enough, like the length of the Tessina conversation. Is that enough time to
Okay.
change in
Probably.
the era in question? Like her hair is still wet.
Yeah. No, makes
Oh,
sense.
it's just I was outside taking the air and well, you know what happened. It happened the weather changes so quickly here.
It certainly
Chloe
does.
kind of rolls her eyes.
Do you need an extra shawl?
That's right. Why do I think you don't like me, cousin?
You're
Uh,
a lying
Oh no, we
liar
have a
who
dynamic
lies.
again. It's fine.
the shade is giving me life. Okay. Real
Regina
quickly.
will take off her shawl and put it over Eleanor.
Amazing.
I hate to stipulate that
That's
I'm
The
holding
friendiest
Soup.
friends.
I'm holding Soup, who is
And they were married.
a little kitten, a little white kitten.
See,
Kitty.
love your people.
Okay. I love this for us all. All right. So, what do we think is in this will, friends? Here's what we know
That's a
so
good
far.
question.
Lady Harmonia was the heir, but also the will had to be amended after he married Regina. Also, Tessina is Lady Harmonia's secret child. And Chloe and Eleanor may or may not be married. Mentioned somehow. Wow. Okay. Sorry.
I'm gonna resolve token for that to be the case.
No, we lined cousin marriage. We're not doing it.
That's right. We forgot about the cousin.
Oh, that's right. We'd have to turn out to secretly be not cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have enough scenes for
I
that.
mean-
It's fine.
If we had more scenes, I'd be interested to see how that would play out, but we do not. So, thoughts on the will? What do we all think it says? I will accept
So-
resolve token pitches for it to be bad for people if people have them.
What you got, Ollie?
I would like to pitch that the conversation was essentially that Lord Walnut is named his heir his illegitimate child, which is why Lady Harmonia was pissed because he convinced her years ago, you need to separate yourself from this illegitimate child. You need to pass them off as a relation. And then he turns around and is like, actually,
Just
my
kidding.
heir is going to be my illegitimate child that I'm telling you about.
Okay.
I love this.
Amazing.
Has he already made that change to his will, or was it still in progress?
I like the idea that he had, and therefore, he was killed for nothing.
I love that. I genuinely love that.
Incredible.
I will
Has
pay-
he left anything to Regina? Probably
Yes.
yeah, and it's like
An allowance. Like,
Yeah,
I like
think,
the she'll be taken care of, but she's not the heir.
okay. Incredible. How much do we think he left Regina? How well off was he? Was it like a 10,000 pounds kind of deal? Was it more? Was it less?
I don't know what a reasonable amount is.
I think
Yeah.
my pitch basically is like it's enough to maintain, but not lavishly.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds
How
like
much-
10,000 pounds
And-
to me.
Is it
Yeah.
enough to maintain in Habershire, or is it enough to maintain in London,
So,
where, if I remember correctly, Regina
It's
wants
enough
to
to
go?
maintain in Habershire and Eleanor. It is not enough to maintain Eleanor.
Yeah.
I will roll a
Oh.
resolve token for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will take that resolve token.
Yeah.
Very
I
good.
will. I think my resolve token goes to Regina.
Perfect. Please mark those resolve tokens as spent and received on both ends.
Amazing.
I do have a pitch for who the child is, but I
Okay.
will also open the floor. Does anyone want to secretly be the child? Which I guess it can't be Regina, it can't be Isa.
Oh my god, if it was
Oh,
Eleanor,
Cappy.
I'd lose my
Oh my god,
mind.
Eleanor would be fucking hilarious. I would offer all my resolve tokens for that.
Okay, you know
I
what?
was
I like that better.
It kind
I was
of.
actually going to say it's Beetle.
I was pitching for Beatles, but I
Oh my
do like
God.
Eleanor.
I do
That's why I'm
also enjoy
like-
Eleanor.
That is why I introduced Beatles. But you know what? Beatles doesn't have to be there.
I'm dying here imagining the cousin suddenly competing to try to marry Beatles.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay.
So then, are we going with Eleanor? Or are we going Beatles?
I
Which
really
one do you
like.
think?
I like them both. Hannah, how does?
They're secret siblings.
Gasp.
They were twins.
Twins.
They were twins. I know that's my
Hannah,
go-to.
how does
Is
this-
have a black tie.
Hannah, what are your thoughts?
So I am torn because I was entirely prepared to throw Eleanor in the way if in the path with a confession if it looked like the accusation was going to land on Regina. And I kind of don't like so I'm trying to like I also like the Eleanor as the heir. Like I as like I as charmed as I am by Beatles, I feel like it makes more sense that it be a main character.
Yeah.
And that's why you wanted to kill him, to destroy him.
Oh, that's fun. It did occur to me probably through the Chloe conversation that the family that looks down on you is not necessarily the Walnut. But yeah, so I would be fine with it being with Eleanor being the secret heir, and I'd be fine with it being someone else. But
Okay.
I will say Chloe is the only other one who I think is positioned for it. So I guess Liz, do you have any interest in Chloe being the heir instead?
Oh, that also would be
Because that could also be very interesting in other ways.
Okay. Yeah, I think it does. Like, if Eleanor is the heir, it does torpedo my desire entirely because that's weird as fuck.
Yeah, well, it also occurs to me that if you're the heir, you can't then. You can't. That has implications for Tessina. So maybe it does have to be Beatles.
Yeah, have to be Beatles or Eleanor.
Okay. I think it has to be Beatles.
All right, let's go with Beatles the Butler. But I do enjoy the thought of the alternate universes in which it's either Eleanor or Chloe. That's fun.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, So then, what is Beatles' name? How would he be referred to?
Beatles. What's wrong with
John. Just John.
John Beatles.
John Beatles.
Just
And
Beatles.
Beetle.
His
My
adoptive father is
fucking
Paul.
Middle name is
Amazing.
George.
Yeah.
Amazing,
He's
incredible.
got a
George
dog
Beatles.
named Ringo.
I feel
Incredible.
like Ringo is constantly is like a Great Dane and is constantly covered in cats who are snuggling him.
Yes.
Oh, that's so wholesome. Okay, all right, back in the scene. So we are all in the study.
Right.
Lady Susan is also there. She is still working on her investigation, but we have all convened to read the will. So the lawyer is here. He pulls the will out and begins to read it. And barring a provision of £10,000 to Lady Regina Walnut to provide for her, Lord Walnut's estate in its entirety is hereby handed over to Paul George Beatles, the butler, who will now be known as Lord Walnut.
Yes, I just noticed the shape of your chin earlier, Beatles.
Chloe kind of looks meaningfully at Tessina at that moment.
And Beatles looks a little bewildered. He had no idea, but he's excited to talk about this with the lawyer, because apparently there's some documents in the packet. There's a letter from Lord Walnut to Beetles explaining the whole thing and saying that he was going to be his heir. This letter was intended to be delivered to Beetles while Lord Walnut was still alive, but the best laid plans, etc. So Regina is not inheriting the estate. Lady Harmonia is not inheriting the estate. It is all going to Lord Beetles Walnut.
That's all right.
Same though.
Well,
Yes, he showed me as such when I last saw him.
right, that makes a great deal of sense.
Does
the
it?
lawyer.
Does it though?
The
Eleanor
lawyer
says as sweetly as I just said that.
Incredible. The lawyer continues. This is
No offense, Beetles.
None taken,
I'm very happy
Mom.
for you.
Thank you, Mom.
It's been a great shame. It's been a great shock. Shock is what the word I would say there.
Yes, it's a great shock for me as well. But I do hope I'll do the old man proud. And he takes his letter off to read it in private. The lawyer continues, this was pending, of course, the investigation and Lady Susan. Lady Susan's decision on what the nature of Lord Walnut's death, which we will have shortly, I imagine. And Lady Susan says, yes, of course, I've just about reached a conclusion. We shall have that discussion momentarily. Leaving
You
some
don't
space.
think it was Beetles?
Lady Susan and the lawyer kind of look at each other and look after Beetles and then back at each other. Lady Susan says, I mean, I suppose I could still interview the new Lord Walnut at this point, but my investigations have rather pointed me elsewhere.
Oh, well, thank heavens for that.
I'm relieved to see that you're relieved that Lord Walnut is not considered a suspect, Lady Harmonia.
Well, Beetles has always been such a kind soul and very solicitous and took great care of Lord Walnut, so it would be unheard of, even if I do understand why there would be a motive. But
That's quite right. I'm sure that's why you brought it up.
you hear something?
All right, I think all of you should take a walk before we get Lady Susan's decision. Go away for 5 minutes, clear your heads, take in the air, and then come back. Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
Of course.
That's
I mean, that's fine. The little rain will it's good for clearing the mind. Anyway, all right, you all can disperse, and we'll segue into Tessina and Regina.
God.
That 10,000
how we
pounds is
planned
still
it
at
out.
stake. So enjoy,
Oh, yeah.
enjoy that.
I love how we so meticulously were like Beetle or Eleanor, but we all went, hold on. Quiet. So as soon as Tessina sees Lady Susan go out, they go to follow her. So that way it can be a catalyst to make Regina go after.
Yep.
I know who did it. I'm gonna go tell. So I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go to, I guess on a winding path to find Lady Susan, up
And
a
I am
stairway,
heading
going
to
down a
intersect.
balcony. Wonderful. Don't you have other things to be doing at the moment,
I'm very,
Lady Walnut?
very curious what I did to offend you.
Thing, you have done no offense. I'm simply confused why you are following me.
You seem to speak to me as if I have caused you offense.
You are following me, so of course that causes some form of offense. And they're just like, get away! I know who did it, did it you? Regardless of what they saw, that is the perception. As they're trying to do it without a, bewildered face. Unless there is something I may help you with. Now, unless you have anything of art to curate, I don't think you do.
Well, I do have this letter that came to be my mistake, and I'll hand her back her letter.
They are just like, I slid that under Lady Susan's, into Lady Susan's, bag, so confusion ensues, because it's definitely not your bag. I will pay a resolve token for that to be the case, because I never said what I did with it. I have a lot of resolve tokens. I will offer that, for that to be fact.
Okay, what do you think about that, Heather?
Sure. I would say that
Wonderful.
as long as it ended up under Regina's door, she wasn't sure how, though.
Okay, so someone removed it from Lady Susan's bag and put it under Regina's door, is what we're
Completely
saying.
fair.
Mess.
Fine.
All right.
Happy with that.
Fantastic. Consider those resolve tokens paid and received. Continue.
Yes, I did. I paid it. Okay. I see. So, if you are in possession of this, you must know why I have need of removing myself from your presence.
I do, and I thought I'd offer you perhaps an agreement that we can both find acceptable.
Oh no, I don't think there is.
There's a painting that's gone missing, one of considerable worth.
Hmm.
Perhaps it was destroyed, perhaps it was misplaced, perhaps I didn't even notice it.
That is news to me. Are you looking to frame me for its disappearance otherwise?
Who would steal a painting but the art curator?
The wife could also do the same theft.
Me? I'm not smart enough.
Oh, it doesn't take very much smarts at all, I'm certain. One simply picks it up and moves it.
I don't know a thing about paintings, or their worth.
You don't need to in order to pick it up and move it.
Look,
I would like to offer Regina a resolve token for Tessina to mention at this point, like moving the handkerchief from into Lady Harmonia's room. So this is bad for Regina, but I would like this to prove that Tessina knows.
okay.
All right.
Okay.
You can have that
I
resolve token, Heather.
had to do the process of that for a second.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you know. So you know about the handkerchief. Can compare it to moving the handkerchief. Yes. Okay. Great. Continue.
Just doing a mental flip for a moment. Sorry. Yes. one can move a painting very easily, just as easily as one can move a handkerchief. Lady Walnut.
Truly.
Very.
So, you're not interested in any sort of deal that could be mutually beneficial to us?
There is no mutually beneficial anything here, considering the situation.
Right. And your intention is to go straight to Lady Susan and tell her everything?
Seems it, doesn't it?
Well, I guess that's a choice, and I'll push her.
Yay!
Where are you pushing Zer?
Out. I'm going to assume we're near like a. I mean, slightly secluded. I don't think she's having this in the grand foyer.
Yeah. As a reminder, Tessina's pronouns are they, Zer.
Okay. I don't think we're having this in the grand foyer, so I'll push them out the window. Window.
Oh, good.
A window.
Okay.
We were on a balcony, so balcony window,
better.
whatever works. Yeah, it's more
Okay.
dramatic. Thank you for making this happen.
Incredible. All right.
Okay.
So, Tessina, you are falling out a window.
Hey, I'm falling off the balcony.
You're
Balcony
falling
window. Okay,
off
cool,
the balcony. Yeah, out balcony window.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll mold both. We'll mold both. It's great. It's
Okay.
raining. Tessina falls not too kindly, but at least you can't quite see the state of Zer as they are partially concealed, but definitely badly hurt. Isn't that great? They're not
Okay.
moving, but they're not dead. Yes.
Okay, Regina, what do you do?
I'm going to look at the thing that I just did, and go, right. And I'm going to go find Eleanor.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Okay. Eleanor, where are you?
Eleanor helping.
Oh wait, are we doing a scene?
We don't have to do a scene, but let's establish, because we are running out of time and I want to respect people's time.
Yeah.
So let's establish what you two talk about. Or we can just have everyone get pulled back to the study, sans Tessina, who has fallen off a balcony.
I kind of love that, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So,
that.
yeah.
So my proposal is,
Uh-huh.
I'd like to put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Eleanor, Regina, fucking beat it and just take off and disappear into the sunset.
Oh, shit!
I think you all will love it, because the guilty party still gets named, but they fucking disappear.
Ooh.
Eleanor's on board with that. How does the
How does the group feel about that?
group feel?
Okay. So then, my question to the group is that do we want Lady Susan to have arrived at the correct conclusion and name Regina as the murderer?
Ooh.
I'm down with it.
I'm down with it. I mean, Eleanor did slip up,
Yeah.
but also, I would be fine if it was like, oh, clearly it's Harmonia. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there's I can think of there's a couple of different. Does Lady Susan have enough information to get to Regina? I guess is my question. Well, I guess if Tessina says she just pushed me off a balcony, there's always that.
Yeah. Tessina isn't saying anything right now.
Right now, Tessina can't say anything. Lady Susan can still draw her own conclusions until
Yeah.
consciousness is achieved.
I mean, I'll be real. I think that Lady Susan is maybe looking at Eleanor at this point.
I
Yeah,
can't imagine why
Because
that might be
Eleanor
a
said
thing
the
that
thing about the
might
ether
consider.
and the handkerchief.
Honestly, fair.
So,
It's what
We
Eleanor
can-
would want.
Truly, though. Honestly, you're not wrong.
so we can do Tessina puts forth the confession that they know it's Regina, Or we can have everything get turned against Eleanor before Tessina is discovered, and then Tessina's like, you know what? Sure. This is easier than trying to prove what I know, especially since I have just fallen off a balcony.
Well, Tessina,
Or we
if
can-
the two have booked it, Tessina's just going to tell everything. That's not going to matter anymore.
And also, there's an estate that's empty now, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and 10,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I put it to you all. Do we think that Lady Susan accuses Eleanor in absentia? And then Tessina's like, nope, it was definitely Regina.
That seems the most
I
plausible.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Regina and Eleanor, describe to me how you make a break for it.
We have to move quickly, and we're just gonna pile all the jewelry into like bags and just book it, like clothes on our back. Our best cloaks.
Yeah, I think I would like to think that Beetles or one of my Beetles has enough kindness in his heart for us for Eleanor to pack up all the cats and send them to the whatever address he receives in the mail some weeks from now.
I mean, sure. He has a whole estate, and
little Soup is coming with us, and Kraken was at the door when we left. So Kraken is coming with us too.
And sandwich.
Incredible.
Soup and sandwich.
Okay, I was so joking with Kraken.
Did you push Tessina off a balcony with a kitten in your arms?
Sure did.
Okay.
Like a goddamn Bond villain.
Incredible. Okay. All right, so you've got your valises, you've got your scooped up kitties, you've got all the jewels that you can find, and you're booking it.
Yes.
What color is Regina wearing today, Heather?
It's Thursday now.
It's
Thursday now.
But I think that once the investigator arrived, she did change to black. But on their escape, she's changing to scarlet red, because why not live it up?
I love that for her. Okay, so the two of you are on the run. And now, back in the study, we have Harmonia and Chloe and no one else.
Beetle.
Is Beetle standing up?
Beetles.
Is Beetle still doing
Beetles is like-
why am I assuming Beetles is still doing the butler?
Beetles is probably like having a lot of urges to clean up after people or escort people, but now he's the heir to a large estate. So, okay. So Lady Susan kind of taps her foot and is like, we are missing 3 of our house guests. Perhaps telling them to take a walk wasn't the smartest choice. And then a servant comes in to say, Lady Walnut and Miss Oakley have left the premises.
Oh, of course they did.
What do you mean left the premises? Did they just flee?
left the premises. Basically, they were carrying a couple of cats and some valises. Lady Regina was wearing a red dress.
The grieving widow.
Yeah. I'm just telling it the way I saw it, ma'am.
Chloe kind of looks at Lady Susan and is like, I don't know if we need your services any longer, Lady Susan.
Well, we still are missing one house guest. I was hired to do a job, and I still will do it, even if the person I tend to accuse is not here. But this certainly seems to confirm what I already suspected, was that Miss Oakley was the culprit. Perhaps acting on behalf of her friend.
She
knows?
was acting very strange, and that's why. God, I'm gonna go take a walk.
Yeah.
I will be back. I promise I will return. And
All right.
If you see Tessina, do let's know we are gathered.
I shall. I'm a bit concerned that I haven't seen her, but I will see if I can retrieve her. Well, I'm out, and we'll go take a stroll around the grounds, presumably finding Tessina.
Yes. Under the balcony, badly injured, but alive.
Yes, unconscious though. But do you want dramatic entrance, or do you want to find Tessina because that's more dramatic? Which one?
I don't know that I have strong feelings about either one.
I will pay a resolve token for it to be finding Tessina in the bushes.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Have Lady Susan's last resolve token, because
Delightful.
Dun,
So-
dun, dun.
Chloe is walking around, strolling the grounds, trying to clear her head while also looking for Zer intended. And then, but under a balcony, did Zer land in some brush that maybe broke Zer fall a little bit, so it wasn't quite as harsh?
Oh, it's just there's a tree that covered so that Regina couldn't exactly see. They might have hit that on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But
not
it might
broken
So, you
fall.
you can clearly see.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
so
still
yeah,
not
there's
pleasant.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Hmm.
So sees Zer under the tree, swears under her breath.
Still raining.
Freezes in place for a moment, stuck between, do I go to Zer? Do I get my bag? What do I do? Like, do I do, for good 10 seconds, just frozen, trying to, uncertain which to do first. And then ends up sprinting towards her, checks for a pulse immediately, sigh of relief when there is one, and then again freezes, trying to figure out okay, do I go tell people, do I stay here, was there and then makes a bolt for the door again, running into the salon where everyone is. There's been an accident. I don't know if it's an accident. Something terrible. Tessina's on the ground, bruised, battered, unconscious, under the balcony. I'm going to get my things. Someone go tend to her. And then, out of just sheer instinct, snaps at Beetles.
Beetles looks torn between following your directions and ordering someone else to do that. He kind of flails a little bit for a second, and then he's like, someone, fetch, the house, Mrs. Robertson, and,
Harmonia's out the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Harmonia and Chloe with her things, and Beetles, and a couple of servants that have been summoned, followed by, of course, the lawyer and Lady Susan. Lady Susan is just doing the Regency equivalent of popping popcorn at this point. And they all assemble outside to see to Tessina.
As regained conscious because of the disruption of their prone body before, and they're trying to crawl their way to some place that would be safe until they see someone and starts calling out, "It was her! It was Regina!"
Lady Susan kind of looks at the lawyer and looks at looks at the rest of them and is like, all right, I may have not quite hit the mark with my guess, but it does seem, since Miss Oakley is also gone, that they both had some knowledge of it. It looks, I don't know, it seems to me that we have reason to suspect both Miss Oakley and Lady Walnut.
He was assisting her.
So they were in it together.
Yes. she tried to frame Lady Chartreuse. She planted it. She took the ether from Dr. Cress's bag. The whole thing.
Oh.
And then she tried to bribe me into silence. It's totally cruel.
Lady Susan looks at the lawyer and looks at the rest of them and says, "Well, I believe my work here is done." And the lawyer says, "Yes, I do believe we will be pressing charges against Lady Walnut." Very well. Otherwise, the will can proceed as described. Lord Walnut, at your service. And Beetles just looks like... I don't even know. It's true. Y'all had a head start. We'll see what happens to you in the epilogue. Alright, so yeah, so then I assume that we get to scene attended to, and we've determined that a murder was done, and by whom, and no one else died, and we love that. Yes, and there is an epilogue. So, each of you gets to narrate a letter, unless someone did, who knows? I mean, y'all can decide at this point. We have our epilogue phase in which all of you get to write a letter from your character set after the events of the confrontation. So just let us know what you've been up to in the few months since Lord Walnut was murdered. And yeah, if someone died, I mean, go for it. Go nuts. We have 10 minutes to do the epilogue.
Go nuts, and Lord Walnut is dead.
Yes.
Lord Walnut is dead. Long live Lord Walnut.
Exactly. Lord Walnut is dead. Long live Lord Walnut.
I think Eleanor's letter is to Beatles, and I think it's the one that I alluded to earlier, to the effect of, "Dear Beatles, I am so sorry for leaving without having a chance to speak with you. Things happened very quickly. I'm sure you understand. Here is my new address. Please send all cats who you think would be willing to leave the comforts of the manor. Obviously, I don't want to deprive you of anyone's company. If you would like to keep Tabby and Hodge and any of the others to whom you have grown close, we will, of course, understand." Yeah, I think it is ambiguous. It is ambiguous whether this is a permanent residence or just the next place she's staying currently.
I feel like
Eleanor, for better or worse, trusts Beatles.
Yeah.
Like she was, at least to her understanding, not lying when she said she had a good relationship with the servants. She thinks they have her back. Whether that is the case or not, I don't know, but she thinks so.
I mean, I feel like Beatles does have some affection for Eleanor and also a little bit for Regina as well.
How about for Tabby and Hodge?
Yeah, he'll hang on to Tabby and Hodge, but he'll send the rest of the cats. So in his reply to you, he says, "In 2 weeks, I am giving the police this note. You have that long to find a new address."
Regina, the cats will be here next week, and then we need to move along.
That's fine. What do you think? Either Paris or New York?
I think first one and then the other.
Let's do New York first.
Yes.
Yes, throw them off your tail by going to America.
Eleanor is already packing.
Okay, very good. Who else has their letter?
Regina will send a letter to her parents.
Amazing. What does this letter say?
I know this wasn't the life that you had planned for me, but I promise you that I am quite happy. Please don't try to find me. All the love, Lady Walnut.
Amazing. Regina and Eleanor are off to the U.S. to be a Bonnie and Clyde duo.
We're gonna be
Love
the
that
With a
for
lot
them.
of cats.
We're
Home
gonna
of
be
the Weaver
the,
without the
yeah.
death at the end. Well, I mean, I guess eventually at the end. So don't
Without
vampires.
additional murders.
We'll all die.
You don't
We'll all
know.
die eventually. Incredible. Who else has a letter?
Isa, do you think that Tessina and Chloe start making amends?
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I think that would be great.
Okay.
Unless you have other ideas. If you
I
have
know-
other ideas, it's totally fine.
No, that's kind of where my instinct was. Like, I don't think they immediately are like, yes, and now we shall be married. I think it's more of a like, okay, I fucked up. You didn't tell me some stuff. Let's start over.
Yes, but also why are you flirting with everybody else? Kindness
Look,
of knowledge.
I said I fucked up. Okay. How many times do you want me to say it?
At least once more.
At least once more.
I fucked up.
All right, cool. Forget. I'm writing a
Yeah.
letter to mom. I just need to know what I'm writing.
Okay.
I'm very happy for Tessina and Chloe to make amends.
All right. I think Chloe. I think there's just like a. I don't think it's a letter so much. I think it's a journal entry.
Okay.
Where it's a couple months down the road. Where there's like a list. There's like one page in her journal that is just like divided in half, 2 columns. One column is things Tessina likes, and the other one is things Tessina abhors. And it's just kind of like continuously, and it's like varying degrees. Like some stuff in there is like light and fluffy stuff. Some is like more serious. Some of it's just kind of like the weird one-off thing that's like, they don't like grapes for some reason. Or whatever it is. So I think that's one thing, and then the other, like the rest of the journal, like there's notes in there about updates on who she's approached in town for, private practice, and kind of just like basically just like rebuilding her book of business. Since she has spent so much time tending to Lord Walnut, there has not really been space for anybody else, but just kind of like getting back into the community there.
Amazing. I love that. Okay. Who else has a letter?
Isa, are you still formulating?
I'm still writing, but I'm open to everything. So.
Okay. I think Lady Harmonia sends a letter to Beetles, who, at this point, like, in public, she'll remember to call him Lord Walnut, Your Grace, and so on. But in private, it's just she can't shake the habit of calling him Beetles, and he's fine with it.
Yeah.
Beetles. It has been rather quiet couple of months, which, given what we have experienced, has been most soothing. I often said that one should always have one mystery in one's lifetime. Why, when I was a girl and the 2 princes went missing in the tower, it did consume us for quite a long time. But I think perhaps I was mistaken, and I am fine with no more mysteries. In any case, I am very happy to accept your invitation to dinner. I, of course, will be bringing my child, whom you know, Tessina, and we will see if Tessina's intended is able to come along. Please do remember that it is very uncouth to serve grapes. I know you have always made sure to prepare meals that do not have them, but I feel necessary to remind you so that I will not be forced to ask for a separate meal. Yours, Lady Harmonia.
Is that a serious offer, Hannah?
I mean, I've got nothing else to do with it, so like, not like only kind of, but also kind of.
I will accept it. She seals the letter with red wax, then turns to the camera and smiles, and you see her fangs glint.
Impeccable. Incredible. Okay, Tessina, over to you if you are ready.
Just a second. It's really rough because my brain is I was trying to listen and write at the same time, and because of my auditory processing disorder, neither worked.
You're all good.
And I got very
That's such a mood.
Thank you. I heard like buzzing sounds that I assumed was laughing sometimes, and then like little drips and drabs, which was all pleasant, but still not always good for me.
Your mom has acknowledged that you are her child and is also a vampire. That's all you need to do.
Is that real? I really need to know. Was that serious?
Hannah paid a resolve token because in my letter I spoke about the two princes in the tower during the War of the Roses.
When I was a girl.
When I was a girl, the two princes in the tower went missing, and Hannah decided to use their last resolve token to have me being a vampire this whole time. Also, I talk a lot about not wanting grapes in my meal, so that's where you get it from.
Is that because you don't drink wine?
Yes.
Anyway. But your mother has acknowledged you as her child, more importantly.
Yes, I accepted Beetle's dinner invitation and said my child will be coming with me.
Yes, I see how that is the more important moment. Thank you. I think. Great. We're not going to discuss how this cross pollination of vampire half human things going on right now, because that's not what's on my head at all. Fudge. Okay. I don't know how that changes my letter. It does. Okay. Dear Lady Chartreuse, we'll say this is before your letter received mine, because I got a broken leg, so I gotta rest up a bit.
Yep.
So dear Lady, yes, dear Lady Chartreuse, I have had time rehabilitating my leg, damaged from the fall as it was, and I have taken to the countryside much better than I had the first time. With that time, I have had good fortune of learning Dr. Cress again, as well, and done more than repairs in the shop and my artworks of my own, which have been received well through a few different societal gatherings. In such time, I have equally recovered a few details on the potential whereabouts of that dreadful lady and her companion. What I can do with that at the moment is very little, but my frustrations, that is what fuels me on, and I have been able to take to walking again, under the close observation of Dr. Cress, of course. In time we shall see, and hopefully I will get a chance to visit you in more intimate surroundings in the future. Respectfully, Tessina.
Amazing. So, everyone either got their desire or got a very good ending, so I love that for us all.
I have one last resolve token, and I will use the name last day. No. Bad. No.
That is fair. You don't even have to spend the resolve token.
They would have to give you a
It's
resolve
done.
token
It's
to ask
done.
to
It's
apply
done.
the name. Rejected. Amazing, y'all.
Oh my goodness, and that concludes our game of Lady Susan PI. Thank you so much,
Marina.
friends. Wow, what a time this has been. Thank you all so much.
Gosh.
Just a quick star to everyone. Star to all of you for just going for it and going for those desires and committing 100%. I am delighted. And the 5 of you have made my first time facilitating a treasure and a delight.
Sorry to Marina for crushing the facilitation job the
Yeah.
first time out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And throwing all the information you wanted out there, navigating, giving everybody time to not only do their desires, but do their resolve tokens. That was amazing. You did great.
Yes. Good
I'm so proud.
star for using your resolve tokens, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done all around.
Very, very good. Any other stars before I let you go to your rest?
Stars
for
Start the
Marina.
recording. Yeah, start the recording. Start at oh gosh. Start to Heather for throwing me off a balcony window. It was great. Thank you for helping me get my dreams. I loved it.